Hersam Acorn newspapers, publishers of the Greenwich Post, New Canaan Advertiser, the Darien Times, the Ridgefield Press, the Weston Forum, the Wilton Bulletin, the Reading Pilot, the Lewisboro Ledger, the Monroe Courier, the Eastern Courier, the Trumbull Times, Fairfield Sun, Shelton Herald, the Stratford Star, the Milford Mirror, and the Valley Gazette.
Hersam, Acorn, and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a radio announcer. I'm a high school football coach. And since I was old enough to stand on the side of a stream next to my dad, I've been an angler. I've fished with bait, lures, and flies. I've fished with spinning gear, fly rods, jigging poles, and tip-ups. I've stood on ice, waded rapids, and been tossed about the deck of a boat. And I want you to love fishing, be it freshwater or salt, heavy flows, high seas, or cutting through a foot of ice, as much as I do, no matter what the quarry, no matter the tactics, no matter the chosen tackle. Welcome to Yankee Fisherman on HANradio.com.
With you, another episode of Yankee Fisherman presented by the Dock Shop. It's summer. Streams are getting hot. You're going to stress the trout a little bit, maybe. And it's a good time to think about fishing for smallmouth. And that's why Nutmeg TU is doing a clinic on Saturday. The guys who are going to run that clinic are here with us. Dave Wilgan, his son Tristan. Tristan, I call you a prodigy because you're always all over the internet with big catches, plentiful catches, varied catches, really good stuff. How'd you get started fishing for smallmouth?
Well, I started back when I was about 7 or 8 years old. My dad and I went on a float trip with Houstonic River Outfitters on the Houstonic River, and I started fishing with a little spin rod and just 6-pound test and just grubs, really basic stuff. And I caught about 50 smallmouth on my first trip, and we got some good pictures. And since then, I've been really hooked on it.
Dave, how'd you get started?
Well, I've been fishing since I was four years old. It was more saltwater, and I took a hiatus for probably 25 years, and I got into fly fishing for trout at the Housatonic. And in the summer, obviously, trout were scarce and you didn't want to stress the fish. So I started experimenting with smallmouth, going to different streams that fed into the Hoosie. And I found it was great fighting fish, easy to catch, both spin and fly. And so that's how it was just basically a genesis into smallmouth from trout during the summer.
What are the similarities between fly fishing for trout, fly fishing for smallmouth?
Generally, I fish streamers a lot, and trout and smallmouth will take streamers, big and small. Smallmouth will also take nymphs, just like trout will, and even dry flies too.
Well, I think a lot of also when you're the similarities are basically you want to look for drop-offs on the rivers. You want to look for rocks. Typically, smallmouth will hide deep down in rocks and look, the same as trout, look for food to go by. And they'll come out, they'll dart out, and they'll grab it. They have a little more, I think, they are a little more excitable than trout. Trout are a little, I think, more pensive and apprehensive. But smallmouth, once they see something, they're on it. So it's pretty much the same as trout. It's just you're fishing in warmer waters. And you don't have to be as stealthy with trout as you do with smallmouth.
A more aggressive strike, similar strike?
I'd say more aggressive. Trout, a lot of times will come up and just tap it. They won't take it all. Smallmouth, once they see it, they're on it, they're going to take it. They swallow it. It's usually a hook set from the get-go. Trout will play with it, they'll bite it once or twice, and then they'll be gone if they don't like it. Where smallmouth will continually come back.
Now, for a fly rod, what am I looking at for a setup? What am I using?
You could use a 5-weight floating line with about a 7-foot tapered leader, 2X. That works for like small streamers, and I like to use an 8-weight with a sinking line about 250 grain. I use as a straight about 5 or 6 foot 2X leader, and I like to throw big streamers with that.
Now, for me, I use a little different setup. I use a 6-weight, 10-foot rod, a floating line, and typically I'll use a heavy sink tip on that, and just followed by about an 18-inch, 2-foot straight 2X leader. Get you down into the deeper pools, but still you can, 2 or 3 feet of water, if it's fast running, you still can get some good hookups because that weighted line will bring you down where the floating line just won't.
Streamers, the big thing. I'm looking at the collection you brought first, Tristan. It looks like streamers are our main choice.
Yeah, streamers such as like the Clouser minnow, this is really staple in smallmouth fishing. This is definitely a go-to fly. Articulateds like this I tie up a lot. This one's called the Heifer Groomer, designed by Kelly Gallup. The articulated really invokes a really aggressive strike, and big smallmouth will hit these flies. They're heavy. You can send them across the river, and it's really exciting fishing with these flies.
And I have to say, I love your tying, and I'm so impressed by what you're doing. You're out there, you're taking other kids out there fishing, and the stuff you're tying, I mean, this stuff is professional quality ties I'm looking at here. It's really great stuff. I'm really impressed by your work.
Thank you, John.
The articulateds, I know I lack the patience at the moment to do. Have you tried it?
John, I lack the patience to tie, period.
I see the spun, you spin some deer hair heads there, and I can tell you right now that I'm ready to set the hook in myself about 3 minutes into that process. Now, this is up in Housatonic Meadows, the clinic that we're doing on Saturday?
Right, Saturday at 10 o'clock, we'll be at Housatonic Meadows State Park. Right across, it's basically a couple hundred yards down from the Route 47 bridge.
Okay.
Right across the street from the old Orvis Fly Shop. And also, we will be, oops, can we get that? We will be providing maps for everyone on all the holes in the Housatonic River, basically in the fly fishing only and the spin cast areas. And also, we'll touch on some spots farther up near the power plant and a little below that are really hot smallmouth areas. Not too many people fish there, so when you get up there, you're going to have some great fishing.
Now, there are some areas, as you said, open to spin fishing up on the Hoosie. What are we looking at for a spinning setup? What pound test am I looking at?
Spinning setup, generally like a 6 to 6.5 foot rod, medium light to medium power. Usually I, use, these are called Kitex, grubs, anywhere from like 2 to 5 inches work well with a jig head rigged up on that. Or, at night or in the morning, you could use a popper, and, big smallmouth will hit these on the top. And it's just almost the same thing as trout. You might use a little heavier line, just a little heavier of a rod for spin setup. That's
got to be quite the show when they hit the top water.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool.
Right, you'll be surprised, and you'll get more larger smallmouth, particularly in the morning on top, than you will small.
Really?
Yeah, and typically we fish, one of our favorite spots is Dun Rollin'. We're on the, at that point, we're right on the side with Clark Outfitters. Casting across, and that drop-off, there's a rock ridge there. And early in the morning, they'll just slam those poppers left and right.
Now, are you looking for structure as you would for most species?
Same thing. Again, you're looking for, you want to fish around rock areas. That's where they're hiding out, basically to ambush their prey. Also on drop-offs. Further upriver near the power plant, we'll show you where there's a section where there's a large drop-off. And basically, you can just cast out there with a spin cast and have either a Kitech or what's the other ones we use?
The gulps?
The gulps or
yeah.
a gulp.
Oh, yeah.
And just let it sway in the current, and they'll come right up and grab it.
What about a storm? Small storm?
We don't use those at all. I tried those years ago, and they never worked. Gulps, and the number one is Kitech, without question. I don't know what the design on that, but it really triggers that aggressive bite response out of smallmouth.
It looks like it's a very soft plastic, and you're getting a lot of tail action out of it, and that might be part of it.
Absolutely. They are a little on the pricey side. If you get 3, maybe 4 fish out of one Kitech, you're lucky.
I can live with that.
They're very soft, but it's worth the investment.
I can definitely live with that. Now, Saturday, what time are we doing this?
We'll start at 10 o'clock. We'll be right on the picnic tables. So this way we'll have everything out. I will provide maps for everyone there. We'll show you where the spots are, some of the techniques, how to drift a grub using Kitechs, things like that. Basically what we've gone over here, but a little more in detail up at the Housatonic.
Yeah, I really don't want to do the whole seminar here, but
No,
just to taste here, because I want to get people up there.
Right.
And this is being done through Nutmeg TU. You can find information at nutmegtrout.org.
That's correct.
I think directions are up there, but it's a real simple trip.
Just type in Cornwall Bridge, Route 7, just go over the Route 7-4 bridge, stay on Route 7. It's right up the road, 300 yards on your right-hand side.
Now, would you call smallmouth your favorite target or trout?
On the fly rod, yeah, I would call big smallmouth my favorite fish to catch.
Dave?
I don't know. I've got some pike.
That must be an experience. I want to do that sometime. What's that like?
Yeah, it's pretty intense. They're tough to find in the Housatonic.
Oh, I'm sure.
But when you do find them, they're pretty large and they're great fighters. So I haven't caught one in a couple of years, but when you do get one, it's a great fight and just a thrill to catch.
That must be, and that's another streamer. We're throwing a big streamer at that.
The bigger the better on pike. Typically, they go for a lot of bright colors and spin cast. I mean, just real bright colors, flashy stuff they'll go after. But on fly, it's very, very large streamers, almost to the point where you need a 10 weight to cast them out.
Wow.
That's how big. Yeah, that's where you're going to get your big fish on.
That is big. Yeah, I'll probably bring the 5 weight and just see what happens. But I'm looking forward to it because I haven't had the opportunity to get out for smallmouth.
Right. One of the great with the 5 weight is typically you can fish, pocket water or lower water with a 5 weight with a floating line, and still with a little clouser or a woolly bugger still produce a tremendous amount of fish. I mean, you're not going to get 3, 4, 5 pounders, but still you're going to get 1 to 2 pounders consistently.
That's
almost
all right.
Every other cast.
I can live with that.
So 5 weight, is a ticket too.
I can totally live with that. Now, are you swinging the streamers, or are you cast and strip? How are you doing that?
Usually on a big fly like this, I'll experiment. I'll cast it out across the river and maybe in a pocket I see that I think will hold a fish. I usually do a 1, 2, 3 strip, 1, 2, 3, about 6 inches every time, and then give it a pause. Or, I'll just cast it out upstream, let it swing for a little bit, let it sink, and then strip it back. Sometimes I'll cast it out as far as I can, do real twitchy and erratic retrieve. I experiment. It's whatever the fish want. But yeah, usually, most of the time, it's just a 1, 2, 3, 6-inch strip retrieve.
And what they want changes from day to day, minute to minute, really?
Yeah, light conditions play a factor too. White is a great color for cloudy or sunny conditions. 1 minute they could want a big olive fly, and then 5 minutes later they could be on a smaller, white streamer.
Very good stuff. And you'll go over all this on Saturday up on the Housatonic Meadows. Directions are at nutmegtrout.org and starts at 10 a.m. at the picnic tables.
That's correct.
Yes.
Dave and Tristan Wilgan, look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Thanks for stopping by Yankee Fisherman to give us a little taste of smallmouth. If you can, get out there. It's going to be a fun seminar. I'm going to get up there, I hope, for most of the morning and just see what happens with smallmouth. Guys, thank you so much for coming by.
John, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having us.
We'll be back with more after this. The long winter is finally astern. Bait is invading the harbors, coves, and inlets. Stripers, fluke, and porgies are on the move. In the streams and lakes, trout, smallmouth, largemouth, and walleye have moved out of hibernation.
At the Dock Shop, it's all systems go. And now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, and their newest location at 609 Riverside Avenue in Westport. Bait, tackle, apparel, and of course, all the marine and nautical accessories that they're known for are ready for you at the Dock Shop. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
It's Lots of Characters, specializing in children's birthday parties with your child's favorite characters. When you want to party hardy, when you need to celebrate, call us, we won't be late. We help create lasting memories for you and your child on their special day. Call us at 203-590-1791 or visit our website at lotsofcharacters.org for more information and to see our party packages. Lots of Characters, 203-590-1791 or online at lotsofcharacters.org.
This is Sig Hansen from Deadliest Catch. You're listening to Yankee Fisherman on HANradio.com.
Welcome back to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop on HANradio.com, streaming live on the Hersam Acorn Network. John Kovach with you. Thanks again to Dave and Tristan Wilgan of Nutmeg TU. Again, nutmegtrout.org. You can get information on the Smallmouth Bass Clinic, which is Saturday morning. It is at 10 at Housatonic Meadows State Park. Couple of things we can talk about in the news locally. The Easton Courier has a front page story on saving the Mill River. It's part of a series that they are working on. Laura Maudlin wrote it. I've talked to her. She's scheduled to join us next week to talk about that. And just a great painting of a fish there. I believe that's by James Prosek, who's quoted heavily in that article in today's Easton Courier, as is Tim Berry of the DEEP, about plans for and preservation of the mill in Easton, which is one of the most important trout streams in Connecticut. We really have to keep up with this one because you do have the looming development of the former Prayer Center, South Park property, it's being called now. So we're going to follow this in the Easton Courier and at eastoncourier.com and just make sure that the Mill River there is protected. I get a lot of questions all the time about Bass Pro Shop and when it's going to open. And we haven't really gotten an answer to when it's going to open. However, we have a little bit more of an idea because just this morning they set up the Facebook page, Bass Pro Shop / Bridgeport CT. They posted a couple images. You can see from Interstate 95 the progress, and there is a look at the inside of it. This was posted on the Bass Pro Shop / Bridgeport CT Facebook page. That's the inside of what looks like is going to be a very big store. There's the outside. You can see it from 95 as you drive by, right there on the water. We had great views of it when we were at Harbor Yard a couple weeks ago. They have a couple of job fairs that are coming up in mid-August that they announce on the Facebook page. So you have to think if they're looking to start hiring and if they started their Facebook page, and that's only within the past couple hours that this happened, that we're starting to see it take shape. And I know a lot of people are excited about it. be excited about it, but continue to patronize your small shops as well. They were instrumental in last week's show in getting Will Nuzzo and that 65-pound bass interview that we did, the striper. And I think there's some trepidation about Bass Pro coming in. So don't forget the small shops that have been there for us all along. Massachusetts has done a great job of publicizing their poaching arrests. We've talked about a couple of them here on Yankee Fisherman. And on July 4th, there was another one, and they posted a photo, and it's at the Massachusetts Fish and Wildlife Facebook page. But the morning of July 4th, officers in Quincy observed from shore 3 men taking stripers and shellfish, and these were from contaminated tidal flats, which always seems like a great idea. They left the flats on their motorboat, and officers waiting offshore on a patrol boat intercepted them near Boston. They inspected the permits, gear, vessel, and catch. They had 7 striped bass, only one of which was legal sized, 162 oysters, 56 razor clams, 1 soft shell clam, and 1 quail. The vehicle was not registered. They were charged with civil violations of marine fisheries laws. The fines totaled $1,500. The motorboat was seized, and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is seeking to have the vessel forfeited for those fisheries violations. Great job up in Massachusetts by the equivalent of the DEEP cracking down on those. Don't have a picture of it, guys, but anybody surprised by, and kick in if you want, they caught a 4-foot alligator in the Passaic River in New Jersey the other day.
Given the size of the big catches you've been mentioning the last couple of weeks, John, I'm not.
Yeah, the 4-foot alligator. I haven't done any alligators. We haven't done any alligator hunting yet.
That could be the next Yankee Fisherman special.
I'm in.
We'll talk to Marty about that.
Yeah, I mean, I got health insurance, right? How bad could it go?
Well, if you could watch our meeting later today and find out exactly
go.
how good your health insurance is.
See? There you go. Oh, joys of work. See, if I just talked fishing all day, that's what I'm trying. I got to parlay this into just talking fishing all day. AJ Simonowski on the radio controls for us. We are going to step out. When we come back, we're going to talk to Kathy Komar of the American Museum of Fly Fishing. They have a number of great events coming up. Really excited to talk to them, and we're going to, looks like, be visiting them in the not-too-distant future as well. You're listening to Yankee Fisherman on HANradio.com or watching on the Hersam Acorn Network. The long winter is finally astern. Bait is invading the harbors, coves, and inlets. Stripers, fluke, and porgies are on the move. In the streams and lakes, trout, smallmouth, largemouth, and walleye have moved out of hibernation. At the dock shop, it's all systems go. And now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, and their newest location at 609 Riverside Avenue in Westport. Bait, tackle, apparel, and of course, all the marine and nautical accessories that they're known for are ready for you at the dock shop. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332 and online at stratfordsmile.com.
Ever wonder why a story becomes news? Find out each Friday on Behind the News on HANradio.com. We'll bring in the newsmakers from around Connecticut and the journalists who cover them. Who is making the news? What did they do? Where did it happen? When and how did that story unfold? Find out on Behind the News, hosted by Kate Chaplinsky, John Kovach, and myself, Josh Fisher. Fridays at noon on HAN Radio.
Now you can keep up with what's happening in Darien with the convenience of the Darien Times Online. Your choice. Print or digital subscription for just $45 a year. Or get the print and digital bundle for just $10 more, $55 a year. To subscribe to the Darien Times, go to hersamsecure.com/CIRC or call the circulation department at 203-894-3388. The Darien Times, now in print and online. Don't miss a single issue. Subscribe today.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
1:32 on your Thursday. Welcome to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop on HANradio.com, streaming live on the Hersam Acorn Network. John Kovach with you. We are joined on the phone by an old friend of ours who does a great job with the history and heritage of fly fishing, Kathy Komar of the American Museum of Fly Fishing in Manchester, Vermont, joining us. Kathy, thanks for calling in.
Hey, John, thank you so much for inviting us again.
So you've got a lot going on up there, some of which involves another previous guest, and that Whitney Milhone, and she is your history maker for July?
Yes, she is. This is a series, an online series that we started a few years ago. Originally, we called it Anglers in Action, but now we've changed the name of the program to History Makers. And Whitney is featured this month in July as one of the great history makers of fly fishing.
She really is, and does a great job with casting for recovery. You've got a great picture of her that that you sent down.
She's really an amazing person. She's, besides being a great ambassador for fly fishing in general, she and her sister have both been fly fishing since they were quite young, but she's done a stellar job with casting for recovery and making some great changes in that nonprofit organization, helping women who are recovering from breast cancer.
Yeah, it really has. That's what we had her on about. And that's just an adorable photo that you guys sent us to use.
Oh, that's great.
So what? Now you've also got an exhibit of Bob Hines' work. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, Bob Hines was the one and only staff artist for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service from 1949 until 1981 when he retired, and it's great artwork because I think, especially those of us who were kids in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, will recognize a lot of his clip art in this exhibition. Bob actually designed and illustrated a lot of important federal government brochures and pamphlets, and sort of introduced a lot of people who had never seen Pacific salmon before. So those of us who grew up in the East, if we weren't able to travel to Washington State, we actually could see these wonderful brochures issued by the federal government. So what we've done with this exhibition, which is based on a biography written by John Jariga, we're featuring mostly his fish illustrations that he did throughout the years. They're original works of art, and we even have a couple of samples of Bob's clip art, which, 20, 30 years ago, the clip art was literally a large sheet of paper with original drawings that Bob Hines would do, and if the art was needed for a brochure, it literally was clipped from this piece of paper and put onto the paper that was then copied. So we have a couple of sheets of his original clip art with clippings taken off those sheets, so it's sort of neat.
Yeah, I'm all too familiar with clip art from the paste-up days. But that's just a different level, that Bob Hines' work that we had up, and it seems to love fish in the air. He loves that shot of the fish on the line jumping, as we saw in the photos of the marlin and of the rainbow trout.
Yes, absolutely. And what I think is important to know is that besides people catching these species of fish for many, many years on, what's referred to as traditional tackle, people have been catching marlin on flies for decades. So it's sort of it's great because it spans all the different types of angling that people enjoy throughout the country.
The shot of the grayling, which is up on the screen now, where it's coming down on the fly, is just the detail in that is incredible. Where you can see the legs of the fly, just really awesome. And then the marlin shot with the boat in the background, I probably the quintessential saltwater picture is the marlin tail dancing with the boat in the background.
Yes, and that's actually what Bob Hines was most noted for, was this realism in all of his illustrations. And he was a perfectionist. He was, like many, many artists, he just wanted to get it right so that it would evoke these sort of feelings and memories when people would look at these images that he would create.
Well, I think he evokes memories. I know he invokes memories with me on that painting of the rainbow that we have up now, where you see the big mayflies in the back. You see the line, and he's clearly got a fly in its mouth, but it's airborne. And any time you can have a rainbow jump, and it's been far too long since I felt it, it's just such a great feeling.
It is, and that's why I think it's so special that that we're able to bring these original works to the museum for people to really appreciate and bring back those great memories and making sure that people understand that when you see this trout underwater, that this is really what it's like where they live. It's not just a creation in an artist's mind. It's true and real creations from Bob Hines.
It really is, and he captures the colors so realistically, so naturally. I really hope to get a chance to see some of those works. You've also got a mini exhibition, and this is one of my favorite forms of art, of fly fishing covers from the New Yorker. How did that exhibit come about?
Well, this is really fun to do. We have a quarterly journal that the museum's been publishing since 1976. So we come up with these different articles, and different authors will approach us with different subject matters. And one of our trustees actually approached us and said, I've been doing some research, and I've noticed that the New Yorker magazine for a few decades would feature fly fishing on the cover of the magazine, but they haven't done it, and I think the last one was probably in the 70s. So he said, do you mind if I write an article? So he wrote this great article. He purchased all of the covers of the New Yorker with all of these cartoons or illustrations. And then he said, if I donate these to you, what will you do with these great covers? And we said, well, why don't we do a small exhibit? So if you come to the museum, and in our Gardner L. Grant library, we have 16 of these covers up on display, so that you can see what somebody was reading back in 1937 when they received their New Yorker. And there's this great illustration of, some of them are quite comical, and some are very serious looking. But then, the quintessential opening day image of angler after angler after angler on a small stretch of water is another one of the great images that the New Yorker published.
I would imagine that some of them are kind of satire, which New Yorker is so well known for. And I would imagine it's some, and I know I'm probably going to offend somebody, and I can't really care. Some, I would imagine, show kind of the upper crust stereotype of the fly fisherman dressed to the nines, don't they?
Well, it does, and that was the interesting conclusion that Jim Heckman is his name, was the author of the article. And basically, the New Yorker only featured fly fishing on the cover when fly fishing was, considered one of the upper class outdoor activities. So the New Yorker was on trend with what their readers were doing at the time. But I think a lot of the culture has changed throughout the decades, and now it's an activity enjoyed by many people across the country.
It truly is. Now, angling and art, that's all month long?
Yes, that's all month long. This is an annual fundraising event that we do. The painting should be up on our website by the end of this week. And we work with area artists to feature some of their great artwork, and we sell it here as part of the fundraising event, and 50% of the proceeds go to the museum and 50% of the proceeds go to the artist. Some of the artists are very high-end artists, but they love to work with us and they love to feature their artwork with us. So some of the art is offered at extremely reasonable prices. So what I always like to encourage people to do is that if you want to start an art collection of sporting art or angling art, that during our angling and art fundraising event, that's the best time to do it because you can get some really great deals. And 50% of what you pay actually ends up being tax deductible because it's donated back to the museum, which is, it's great for everybody.
And some of the feature artists in that, looking at your website, Yoshi Akiyama, Mark Tugayas, Samantha Aronson, George Van Hook, John Swan, Luther Kelly Hall, Gordon Allen. I mean, you've got some really top-notch fishing artists in there. And you're offering a chance for the amateurs to try their hand at painting, too. That's coming up on July 11th.
Yes, that's this weekend. I'm not quite sure if it's a popular thing all through New England, but there's something very popular in this part of Vermont and upstate New York called sip and paint.
Yep.
And so this is our version of it, and we're calling it Canvas and Cocktails. And Samantha Aronson, who is one of the featured artists in angling and art, will be here at the museum this coming Saturday from 4 to 6. And we'll be given the opportunity to get some watercolor instruction from Samantha. We're going to work on a landscape. And while you're here, you can have a couple of glasses of wine. The wine was donated by E&J Gallo Winery out in California. And it's free of charge. We're not charging anybody for spending a couple of hours learning how to be a watercolorist and enjoy some conversation and some wine.
That's fantastic, and that's at the American Museum of Fly Fishing on Saturday, July 11th, 4 to 6 p.m. That really only, I think, in the past year, maybe two, started to catch on down here, where we're seeing more establishments type of thing, your wine bars, your restaurants doing the, come have a drink and paint. But my understanding is that the popularity down here is taking off. That's been a big deal up by you in Vermont for a while?
It has, and there are a couple of places that I've heard about in upstate New York, actually Saratoga Springs area. There's a place that I believe they call it Sip and Paint, and that's why we didn't want to replicate their program name or their business name, but it's an actual studio, and that's what they do. That's their business, is to do art instruction and have people enjoy some wine while they're learning.
That's got to be very popular, and then you've got National Ice Cream Day celebration, and unfortunately I can't be there for that.
Oh, yeah, that's always a great day. Knock on wood, it's always been a sunny July Sunday. We celebrate National Ice Cream Day. This will be our 8th annual celebration. And it's just a really fun outdoor activity day. It's mostly oriented towards kids, but I have to admit we do have a lot of adults who stop by for some free ice cream. But we have some great activities for kids to learn about fly tying and learn how to make a practice rod, and then we also do some just informal casting instructions so that if anybody's curious about fly fishing, the staff is here ready to help you pick up a rod and do a couple of casts on the lawn, and if you're so inclined, you're invited to go to our casting pond in our backyard and see if you can get one of our trout to come up for a fly.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. And we just had up for a minute ago, it was Mark Tagayas's Down the Bat and Kill. So that's part of the Angling and Art, and that's all month long on the website?
All month long. I believe the individual paintings will be up on the website by the end of the day tomorrow. Okay. And I hope everybody goes to amff.com to take a look.
And there's a lot going on there. And then you've got coming up the 8th annual Fly Fishing Festival, and that is on August 8th. That your big annual event?
That's our big annual community event. It's a one-day event on that Saturday, August 8th, from 10 to 4. Again, it's free of charge. We just received actually some underwriting so that people can come to the museum that day free of charge to enjoy the different exhibitions, the Bob Hines and the New Yorker cover exhibitions. And it's a day of, we have vendors here, we have fly tyers, we have casting workshops, just a nice variety, a nice way, again, to come, learn a little bit about the history, maybe buy a beautiful handmade bamboo rod by a local artisan. We also have hamburgers and hot dogs that are donated to the museum, so we have food available for people. And this year we have another canoe maker who will be on the grounds demonstrating canoe making.
Oh, that's terrific. Now, you guys just had an event at Fenway Park, too, right?
Well, it was sort of a closed event. Our communications coordinator went to the Fenway Park and had an interview session with their pitcher, Rick Porcello. And we're going to be putting parts of that interview up on our website and sharing it, posting it digitally through some different online magazines in the coming weeks. Rick apparently is an avid fly fisher. He's got some great stories to tell about growing up fly fishing and sneaking out during spring training months to go saltwater fly fishing with his brothers. I'm not sure the baseball team's going to like to hear this, but we just thought it was so great that he loves it so much that he snuck out.
Hey, Ted Williams used to sneak out fishing, too, and he did okay for himself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, we have Babe Ruth's fly rod here in our collection, too. So there's a great consistency with baseball and fly fishing.
Well, it looks like we are right now scheduled that we are going to be up there in the near future, and I'll be talking to you and hope to be able to swing by and see the museum and talk a little bit. Again, the 8th Annual Fly Fishing Festival at the American Museum of Fly Fishing, that is on August 8th, and that's an all-day affair, Kathy?
All day from 10 to 4.
You've got the Bob Hines exhibit and the mini exhibit of New Yorker fly fishing covers. That is all month long. And you have the Angling and Art Benefit Sale. That's on the website. That is also all in the month of July, correct?
Correct. And
your hours up there in Manchester are?
We are open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 4. Offices are open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Anybody's welcome to give us a call, and we'd love to see you up here.
I hope to stop by, and that's at 4104 Main Street in downtown Manchester, Vermont. Kathy Komar of the American Museum of Fly Fishing, thank you so much for talking with us. Hopefully we'll have you, hopefully we see you, and we'll have you back on real soon. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, John.
We will be back with more Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop, right after this. The long winter is finally astern. Bait is invading the harbors, coves, and inlets. Stripers, fluke, and porgies are on the move. In the streams and lakes, trout, smallmouth, largemouth, and walleye have moved out of hibernation. At the dock shop, it's all systems go. And now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, and their newest location at 609 Riverside Avenue in Westport. Bait, tackle, apparel, and of course, all the marine and nautical accessories that they're known for are ready for you at the dock shop. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Now you can keep up with what's happening in Darien with the convenience of the Darien Times Online. Your choice. Print or digital subscription for just $45 a year. Or get the print and digital bundle for just $10 more, $55 a year. To subscribe to the Darien Times, go to hersamsecure.com/CIRC or call the circulation department at 203-894-3388. The Darien Times, now in print and online. Don't miss a single issue. Subscribe today.
Connecticut Rockefeller Estate is Westchester County's top cultural attraction and is now open for the season. Don't miss out. Go online to hudsonvalley.org to plan your visit. Take a drive out to beautiful Sleepy Hollow, New York, and enjoy Connecticut's stunning architecture, breathtaking gardens, expansive art galleries, and commanding Hudson River views. From world-class art by Picasso and Warhol to expertly tended gardens, there's something for everyone. Connecticut Rockefeller Estate, a National Trust for Historic Preservation landmark.
It's grilling season, and Walter Stewart's Market is your local destination for the finest grill-ready certified Angus beef strip steaks, skirt steaks, 100% grass-fed ribeyes, all-natural pork ribs, Arthur Ave-style kebabs, fresh-cut veggies, delicious grab-and-go salads, chilled rosé wine, and ice-cold craft brews right next door. Walter Stewart's, your fresh local market. 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and shop online for groceries and wine delivered to your door at stewartsmarket.com.
Does advertising on HANradio.com work? Just ask Coastal Orthopedics. They ran spots with us, and within 24 hours they had 21 walk-ins and 8 calls to their new immediate care center. To advertise on HANradio.com, call 203-417-5199 and ask for Marianne Hersam.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
You can't go up in the count, guys. Oh, I'm the one that's supposed to exaggerate numbers. I'm the guy hosting the fishing show. I'm supposed to exaggerate the numbers as I give A.J. Simonowski and Eric Gendron a little tough love. They're off camera, help make this a good show today. Also got to thank Dave and Tristan Wilgan. Again, Nutmeg TU, go to nutmegtrout.org for more information. But there's a smallmouth bass fishing clinic that is on Saturday up in Housatonic Meadows State Park. I'm hoping to swing up there, and I'm hoping instead of having a camera in my hand, to have a fly rod and or spinning rod in my hand and get some smallmouth fishing in. Also, thanks to Kathy Komar of the American Museum of Fly Fishing in Manchester, Vermont. That those old pieces of art, those old Bob Hines works from Fish and Wildlife, and that's kind of what I consider the golden age of the outdoor magazine. I love photography, but the paintings like Bob Hines did, like the waterfowl stamps, they're just so romanticizes and so captures the ideal experience that we're all interested in the outdoors, which a study came out online the other day about how being outside actually helps your health and your mood, and I wouldn't argue with that. So TU has started Trout Blitz, which is an idea to have anglers take photos of their catches and thus track the proliferation of species in certain areas. They are picking winners of those who participate. Alex Pilchalski of East Rutherford, New Jersey, the first winner. There's Alex with a salmon. You want a 72-piece fly assortment from flyassortments.com, which is a TU corporate partner. Just by taking that photo, you can find more at tu.org on Trout Blitz, but it's one of the angler science programs that they're doing. And all you're doing is what you're doing anyway, and that's catching fish and taking photos of them. Between May 23rd and June 30th, according to TU, he submitted 16 separate observations to Trout Blitz from New Jersey. He does a lot on the Raritan and the Musconetcong. I fish a lot on the Raritan when I'm fishing with my father. The Pequest does sometimes chase salmon and steelhead up in Pulaski on the Salmon River. You can find out more about Trout Blitz at tu.org, but congratulations to Alex. That's a great salmon. And 72 flies is a nice get. A couple of interesting stories in local papers and websites in the past week that are related to us. The Hour out of Norwalk had a story on the closing of the Manresa power plant and how the changes in water temperature with the closing of that plant in 2013 have affected the marine life in that area. I'm trying to get a guest on from Long Island because we're seeing stories now about the Connecticut River, legendary trout stream. It was probably trips to the Connecticut in Long Island that inspired some of those New Yorker magazine covers. And, it's a place, again, we'd love to see restored, and I'm going to talk to somebody about that. Hearing from Marty Hersam out in the field, and he and Josh Fisher just drove by sign in a town that has a catfish derby, 500 for the winner. If any of you guys want to come up to Catskills with me this weekend. Story out of Vermont about Vermont's clean water law, and the benefits of that will flow down the Connecticut River. It all ties together. And then some of the scary stuff, some of the stuff that's in TU's The State of Trout that I hope to discuss in a coming episode. And the EPA doing a study that unfortunately says brook trout and salmon could fade from the Adirondacks by the year 2100. It's something we need to work today to stop. That's going to do it for this week's Yankee Fisherman. When we come back next Thursday, we are going to talk a little bit more about preserving a local stream. And we'll spend an hour talking like we're at the tackle shop, just you don't have to leave your office. Thanks for listening to Yankee Fisherman on HANradio.com, watching the live stream on the Hersam Acorn Network. Thanks to the Stock Shop for sponsoring us.
Mama's going fishing, and the baby going fishing too.
Hersam, Acorn, and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.